Hi, I'm Miss Chris. Today we will be learning how to make Sufganiyot and about Hanukkah. Sufganiyot is a traditional Jewish dessert made for Hanukkah. It's similar to a jelly donut. It's also called a Israeli donut as well. Today's recipe is from the Hadassah Jewish Holiday Cookbook. You can find it in the Ocean County Library, so you can borrow it and you can discover a ton of delicious recipes. So we're gonna get started right away. First, we're going to take our quarter cup of lukewarm water. You don't want it too hot, otherwise it's going to kill the yeast. Too cold and the yeast won't activate. And then also your 1 packet of dry yeast and some sugar. So we're going to open our packet of yeast and mix it in with the water. Once your yeast is dissolved, you're going to take a good pinch of sugar and stir that in as well. That is so your yeast has something to eat, otherwise it will die. It is a living organism. Alright, it has been 10 minutes. Our yeast is now foamy, it's been activated, and we are ready to start the next step of the process. You're going to take a large bowl. You're going to take your 3 3/4 cups flour and you're going to pour it into your large bowl. You're going to add the yeast. You're going to take 1 egg yolk and 1 egg. I just separate my egg yolks while they're in the, from the shell. So you crack your egg in half. And you very carefully move it back and forth. And we just dump the egg yolk in, and then 1 full egg. Next is your salt. You're going to take 1/2 teaspoon, measure it and pour it in. You're going to take your remaining 1/2 cup of sugar and pour it on it. And your butter, which is 4 tablespoons. So we're going to cut our butter and stick it in half. It's room temperature. And now it's 2 tablespoons of lemon zest. You're just going to zest your lemon right into there. It might not be a perfect amount. It's a little bit hard to measure zesting. So far we have our lemon zest, our egg yolk, our sugar, our flour, our butter, our yeast, so everything rises, and now it's going to be room temperature milk. So this milk has been sitting out for a couple hours to make sure it is up to room temperature. Again, if you change the temperature too drastically, your yeast will die and you will not have anything rise. So we're going to add this in, and now you are going to take your mixer and mix it together. I have blended it together. It's still a little dry, so I'm kneading the dough same way you would knead Play-Doh to try and make sure it's all together. It should be a little sticky, not super sticky. If you are like, it is super, super dry, add a little bit more milk. If you're like, it is a gooey mess, add some more flour. Now that my dough is kneaded, it's a slightly sticky ball. I'm going to cover it with saran wrap. Now that the dough is covered in plastic wrap, we're gonna also cover it with a tea towel. You're basically tucking it in to go to bed. You're gonna put it in a warm, dry place. I'm just gonna put mine on top of my oven, and you're gonna let it sit and proof for an hour, where it just kind of has the yeast activating, and it should double in size. While our bread is proving behind us, here is some information about Hanukkah. In the 2nd century BCE, the Syrian army was invading Israel and outlawed Judaism. The Great Temple of Jerusalem was then converted to worship the Greek gods. Outraged by this, a rabbi and his 5 sons organized an armed rebellion and took the name Maccabee, meaning hammer. This small army was able to defeat the Assyrian army. After defeating the Assyrian army, one of the first things that the Maccabees did was rededicate the Temple of Jerusalem. In order to do so, the Maccabees needed to reignite the holy light, but found that there was only enough oil to burn for a single night. Knowing that more oil was needed, a messenger was sent to a distant city to bring back more. The small amount of oil in the temple burned for 8 days and nights while the messenger was away. The miracle of the oil lasting for 8 days and nights is why many foods eaten for Hanukkah are fried in oil. Now that your dough has doubled in size, we're going to make golf ball sized balls and proof them again. So you're just going to pull off a chunk, shape it into about a golf ball size, and put it on a sheet pan. Once you have your golf ball size pieces of dough, you're going to cover them up again, and then you're going to proof them for another 30 minutes. While our Sufganiyot are proofing again, we are going to work on making our fillings. One of the fillings is jelly, strawberry jelly, so it's already done. We are also making a sweet cheese filling where you need a tablespoon of melted butter, which I've already melted into this container, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and a whole pound of ricotta cheese, which is a lot. I feel like we're gonna have way too much filling. And also an egg yolk, just the yolk again. So we're gonna crack our egg, separate that yolk, our sugar. So we've got our eggs, our sugar. It is actually half of a giant container. This is 32 ounces. There are 16 ounces in a pound. I double checked before I made the recipe. So we're just gonna scoop out half of it, and now you mix it together. Our golf balls have proved they're now even bigger, about doubled in size. It is time to start frying. Make sure you use a spoon or tongs, anything besides your hand, to put them in the oil. Oil does splatter. We're gonna test the oil. It should be about 350 degrees if you have a deep fryer thermometer. If you don't, we're gonna take a little piece of dough and put it in. You can see that it's fizzing. The dough has risen. That is the correct temperature for our oil. It flowed to the top pretty quickly. It's fizzing. I'm going to gently just take one of our saffignon and place it in the oil. We don't want to overcrowd the oil. If you do, it's going to drop the temperature and it's not going to be as good at cooking them. So we're going to put like 2 or 3 in at a time. Again, make sure you use a spoon. Your saffignon should cook for about 3 minutes per each side. You'll see that they start to get a nice golden brown color. Once they're that color, you're going to take your tongs or your spoon and you're going to flip them over to cook the other side so they're cooked all the way through. And you're going to cook for about 3 minutes on the other side as well. Once it's golden brown on both sides, you're going to take it out. You're going to put it on a tray lined with paper towels and start your next batch. All right, now that we have finished deep frying our saffignon, we are able to fill them. I'm doing half with jelly, so we're going to do the jelly half first. You're going to take a paring knife. I'm just using a regular kitchen knife. You're just going to pop a hole in the side. Your fillings are in pastry bags now. And you're just going to slide the tip into your saffignon and squeeze some jelly in. A little too much jelly there. It's okay. It's going to be delicious. And then you're just going to roll it in powdered sugar. And you're going to put it to the side. And then you're just going to repeat that for half your batch of saffignon. I've finished filling my jelly saffignon, and now I'm going to move on to my sweet cheese filling. And you're going to fill in the same way, just cut a little hole in it. Ooh, this one's a little small. Insert your piping bag and fill with some sweet cheese. I keep overfilling mine because I get everyone likes a little bit extra filling. And you're just going to roll it through the powdered sugar. And voila! And you're going to repeat that with your remaining saffignon. Now that your saffignon have been filled, it is time to eat them. They are delicious. I hope you enjoy them. I end up having a lot of the sweet cheese filling left over, so I would recommend either cutting the recipe in half, or you can use it to make filling for blintz. They're normally more popular for Passover, however they are delicious. They're very similar to a crepe, so you would just make them. The recipe is also in this book as well, and enjoy.
Support public libraries. Like, share, and subscribe for more great videos.